Good evening, everyone. Welcome to week number 3 of the Random Championship Series NexVerse Heroes of the Storm Tournament. Tonight, I am your guest host. My name is Try, aka Ben, and we are very excited to be here. Lots of new teams, some new faces, so it's going to be a very exciting night. We're going to have tons of fun while we're at it. So, quickly, let's go on ahead and snap over to the bracket to take a look at our fighting teams this evening. Alrighty. So starting up at number 1, we have Evil Vice Esports, and they will be taking on the winner of Question Mark and Squirtle Squad, along with Grassroots Clarity. We have the Addiction Gaming versus Teague show off. We also have Technical Difficulty, who will face the winner of Lowkey X and Tailwind, and then we have Team Cynics, who will be facing the winner of the Doom Squad and Filthy Casuals. So it's going to be quite a fun night of some exciting games, and we ask your patience for one moment while we get set up with our very first team here. Let's quickly take a look and see who that is going to be. All right, here we go. Moving over to our game lobby. Let's see here. Okay. All right, so it sounds like we're going to be, our first game of the night will be Squirtle Squad versus Question Marks. So a very exciting game, so we'll tune back with you all very shortly. Apologies again, everyone. Thank you for your continued patience. Unfortunately, the initial draft, which we were going to have set up, had some technical difficulties, so we ended up moving on to our next game that we had available, which was against Tailwind Gaming versus Lowkey X5. So, while we sit in the loading screen, let's go ahead and quickly take a look at our two drafts that we had. We had the Tassadar, the Jaina, a Tyrande, a Falstad, and a Muradin on the blue side. And it's an interesting draft going for the double support with more of the hybrid support, so I do like that, as well as the double mage sort of backline with the always dependable Muradin. And over on the red side, we have the Vikings, which on Cursed Hollow, a very strong split pushing ability. We have the Diablo and Sonya frontline, so a lot of control with a lot of damage as well, especially the recent buffs to Diablo that we saw, along with the solo carry Vala, and then of course the, arguably the best support in the game currently on the Uther. So I do have to say, going into this game, I'm probably going to be favoring the blue side a little bit more just because of the double mage. So all right, so let's quickly take a look at the players that we are going to have on either side. Over on the blue side, we have Finn on the Tassatar with the beautiful mechanical skin. On the Tassatar, we have Kingfisher. On the Muradin, we have Swollen. Honest Dave on the Jaina, and we have Snow on the Tyrande. And then, of course, over on the red side, we have Lowkey on the Vikings, Shrieks on the Sonya, Gyubu on the Diablo, Uther would be the, if you stop spinning, Skuguge Amuga. That's the best you're going to get out of me on that one. And then, of course, on the Vala, we have Jakey Bobby. All right, so let's see. We're going to go for a full bottom here on the red team. Looks like they're going to get some pretty strong immediate push here. We'll take a quick look at talents, of course, see what we got going on everyone. We have the double mana regen over on the Tastar and the Jaina, as well as the reduced cooldown on Tyrande's trait, Hunter's Mark, the season marksman for the Falstad. We most likely will be seeing an auto attack build with that. The one thing that was really nice about the changes we saw to Falstad is it does allow a bit of a hybrid build, so we will see as we go further. And we do have the reverberation lowering the auto attacks on all of the red team's opponents, which probably will only be the Vala and the Sonya he'd have to worry about. And then, of course, we have the start of what would be an auto attack build with the War Paint on the Sonya. We have the Conjurer's Pursuit over on the Uther, pretty standard. We do have the explosive attacks over on the Vikings, the Devil's Due on the Diablo, and then we have the multi-shot build, well, at least what looks to start the multi-shot build over on the Vala. So an attempted gank on the Falstad on bottom, so nothing really coming up on that. We did have first blood over on Olaf as well, but a Viking not worth much XP, so red team going to be pushing extremely aggressive in bottom lane, going to easily clean up that first tower. That's one of the biggest changes that we've seen with this current meta and the scaling changes, is that early game you can push so aggressively, and it looks like red team is easily taking advantage of that with the comp that they have going for them. Especially with the single carry with the Vala, it would make sense for them to be extremely aggressive early game with the double warrior, just because as Falstad and Jaina scale, it's really going to hurt them in the late game. So if they can clean up this first fort before we get our first tribute, that's going to be really clutch for them to be able to secure and possibly hold that lead. But looks like blue team's finally going to answer, rotating Muradin and Tyrande down. Going to keep the Jaina and the Tassadar up in their lanes to obviously fight the Vikings, but we did already clear that fort, so we did have that, go for the red team as well very quickly. So Tailwind definitely in control right now as far as the early game goes with this. So let's taking a look at quick talents again, just to make sure we stay on track with what we're seeing. We are seeing the start of that hybrid build, like I had mentioned on the Falstad. So the standard full support build after Tyrande, possibly with the shields, what we're seeing. The leeching plasma on the Tassadar, so that's just going to make everyone just do so much sustain as far as the healing goes. So very strong pair in those. And interesting, a Frost Shard build coming out of the unit, so we could see a full Frostbolt build. We do have a bit of a scuffle here. No one fully committing, nothing too much coming out of it. We did almost lose Muradin. Not really all that much coming from that, though. We, as far as XP goes, we do have a nearly full level lead, and that is probably because of the fort that Tailwind was able to secure down in bot lane. So, and we have another teamfight scuffling here. Muradin trying to engage, staying on the backline on that Sonya. Diablo trying to go for the backline, but unfortunately not dealing that too much damage early game. And Diablo does end up falling. And Tailwind is extremely low. They're going to definitely need to pull back here as Sonya is about to go down, and we're probably going to, we end up losing Uther there as well. So 2 kills going in favor of Lowkey as the first tribute of the game is approaching to spawn. Sorry, my apologies. Tailwind is on the blue team, so Tailwind was able to take that fight. Alrighty, so let's see, going back, we do have the Vikings. Unfortunately, with those 2 kills, it does look like Tailwind was able to quickly catch up on the experience, so definitely Lowkey's going to have to watch taking those bad fights if they're going to hope to maintain that Viking lead there. And here comes our second tribute of the game, definitely in a very bad spot for Lowkey. That positioning is usually probably one of the hardest tributes in the game to get just because of how strongly it favors the blue team. So I wouldn't be surprised if the red team just chooses to ignore this and soak. But it looks like they're going to try to just most likely hold on as long as possible and let the Vikings do their job. As Falstead is, of course, staying up here as long as he can to just keep that continued soak. And he's going to try to take out Olaf. And it looks like he might be able to do it. Yeah, we will lose Olaf right here, and then we'll probably see Falstead rotate down. And right now we do have a fight coming in bottom. We're about to lose Tassadar. All right. Lowkey was able to take out Tassadar. Diablo has fallen as well, but we do end up losing Murden, so there goes that front line. And blue team is probably going to have to fall back as Lowkey do proceed to take this tribute, getting the second one of the game. Oh, we have another delay with the Lunar Flare coming from the Tyrande. And just so much poking potential right now coming from Tailwind. But Jaina is definitely in trouble here. Uther's going to easily get that stun out on her, and nope, Jaina is definitely going to fall right here to the Sonya and the Uther pair. And that is 3 kills in that fight going in favor of Lowkey as well as the tribute. Taking a quick look at our level 7 talents, see what builds we've got going on. We do have the continued Frostbolt build coming out of the Jaina, the Kala's Embrace coming out of Tassadar, just making sure those shields continue to stay on his team even as they expire. So it's really interesting with the changes we saw with Tassadar specifically that the Kala's Embrace has seen quite a surge on the full support Tassadar. It really, especially this map, I don't know if I would have gone for the range just to give him more poking potential to delay those tributes, but definitely an interesting choice. Of course, we have the increased range on the Lunar Flare, very standard. We have the secret weapon. There's the secret weapon. Usually, or with the hybrid mage build, we usually see the boomerang. So I'm a little surprised at that. Not, it's pretty decent just because you can usually get about 3 to 4 auto attacks in at best. The stutter stepping definitely complicates that a little. So it's going to be interesting to see if that can, get the max damage that Falstead is wanting to get out of that. All right, we do have our third tribute coming out, so this is definitely going to be a curse for Lowkey if they're able to hold this out, and it looks like they're going to get ults first, so this is going to definitely be. And we do have a kill up on Jaina in the top lane, so this is easily going to go in favor of Lowkey. There's just, unfortunately, no way Tailwind is going to be able to, fight that with down a man and ultimates in favor of Lowkey. So we do have our first curse of the game going in favor of Lowkey. They're going to start to push this mid lane, and they should easily be able to get it. Jaina's not even up yet. And it looks like they're going to go ahead and get their boss. I don't know if I agree with that call. It's very brave, but they're giving up that fort mid lane, and Lowkey doesn't even seem to have any idea that they're doing it. And honestly, with them, losing that mid fort, that's probably the best thing they're going to be able to get out of this, just simply because they don't risk losing that boss if Lowkey decides to fall back down to it. But they're already threatening the keep, and we're only 7 minutes into the game. Tailwind, you guys need to get back, and you need to... we're going to lose our first keep of the game. 7 minutes and 15 seconds in. Lowkey are able to secure the first fort of the game, and we're already seeing a 2.5 level lead, and that is just really going to hurt, especially this game. We got another 10 seconds left on the curse as well, but a lot of damage coming out in favor of Tailwind right now, and Diablo is so low, about 5% health. Oh, and the Divine Shield, though, keeps him alive. We have the Vikings all going in, trying to secure kills. Jaina's so low, but we do have the... Shadowstalk able to keep everyone just barely alive, as it looks like Lowkey is in full retreat. Sonya so low, just trying to get out, but Murden's probably going to keep her alive as well. Diablo. Oh, and we do end up losing Diablo. And the Sonya, with a pretty decent turnaround there coming out of Tailwind, able to secure 2 kills, but they did lose their mid keep. I don't know if I call that a decent trade, though. That boss is able to do some pretty decent work with them getting that, but he's not even going to get a full fort. So that's... it's kind of like I wouldn't even know if I would call it a double-edged sword, because you really did not get much out of getting that boss. He was able to maybe, take 60%, if that, out of that bottom fort, and you're down 2 completely full levels, as well as losing map control, and now they're going to have to worry about that mid lane with that keep for the rest of the game. I just, we will definitely see if they're able to recover from that. So, taking another quick look at talents right here, seeing if we got any strange. We do have the Giant Killer coming out for the Vikings. Interesting choice there. We do have the full flame build coming out of the Diablo. We do have the multi-shot build, as previously discussed on the Vala. We do have a full attack here though, so we'll get back to talents in just a moment. Right now we haven't lost anyone yet. Vala's so low though, quickly able to get out, and we do end up losing Tyrande, as well as the Vala. Just 1 for 1 right now, 2 for 1, losing the Falstad as well. Diablo going up and then taking out the Tassadar, and Muradin's just in full retreat now. Uther, though, getting a lot of shots from those towers. Is he going to leave? And there's the Divine Shield just to keep him barely topped off, as Diablo and Sonya take all the shots from this top tower. So, a 3 for 1 in favor of Lowkey. So, right now we're seeing another level added to our lead, 15 to 12, and they're just approaching their 16 talents. And Tailwind does not even have their level 13 talents yet. This is just beginning, unfortunately, to spiral out of control for Tailwind. Just so much soak with those Vikings, and unfortunately, unless they can catch a break here, we could possibly see a 2-talent lead. And there goes Lowkey over to their boss, which they should easily be able to secure. They might be able to contest it, but I don't think it's a wise decision given the talent deficit. I mean, we're on even talents now, but they maybe have 10 seconds on an even talent. In my opinion, this curse coming up, I don't know if they can contest it at all. We will have to see what they do. But being a talent down, they were able to get Eric bottom lane, so they were able to remove a little bit of soak, but the 16 talents already reached, and so far they've been down a talent for about the last 5 minutes. Here we go, though. They are going to attempt to challenge this talent, or this tribute, but it doesn't look like they're even going to have a shot at it. Just Olaf able to easily secure that, and now we are in full retreat in the top lane. Muradin caught a little out of position, though. Can he get out? And with his jump, he is able to get out, but he was pulled right back in by Diablo yet again. We have the Apocalypse popping, not really hitting too many people. The Shadow Stalk to keep everyone healed up. We do have a Mighty Gust just to save Muradin and get him out of dodge, and he should be fine, able to fight behind that wall, but that boss is tearing down that wall very, very quickly. And we do have a Viking pushing bottom, trying to get that wall up, but he is about to die. We do lose Muradin. It is officially a 4v5 now in favor of Lowkey, who ends up losing Olaf as well. 2 Vikings down, but still 4 members of Lowkey threatening that keep, along with the boss, who does end up falling. So, all in all, fairly decent defense, losing Muradin, unfortunately, and only about 10% health on that keep. They are going to quickly snipe the Giants up in the top from Tailwind. So just providing a little extra pressure, forcing them to have to clean that up or lose more health to that keep. And looks like Tyranda's going to stay and clean that up. And right now, map pressure and map control, I would easily put in favor of Lowkey, who's just done an excellent job utilizing those Vikings and being extremely aggressive early game to secure themselves that lead. It all comes back down to that fort they got within, I'd probably say, was 2 to 3 minutes. That fort gave them almost a half to a full level lead right off the bat, and that was just a great strategy, and unfortunately, Tailwind did not answer that. So, quickly taking a look at our 16 talents, though, before another fight breaks out, and I'm going to have to skip to doing that. We do have the continuous overpower giving another charge on that Diablo. We do have the Executioner, the Benediction. We do have the No Escape, so that extra speed boost on Sonya. And we do have another fight breaking out, I apologize. And we do end up losing Muradin just too quickly in that fight. Diablo very low, but the Divine Shield able to keep him up. And Tailwind is just going to have to retreat back out of there, get under the safety of their keeps, and just there's not much they can do right now. 5v1, level lead at 16. It's just they're 3 levels down. This is just hurting. Unfortunately, this is really hard for them to come back from, and the best thing they could do here is try to soak, but the Vikings are going to nullify any extra soaking that they would, be able to get out of it, trying to, catch up even. We do end up losing Belloc, though, so the lower lane soak is going to be lost, but that, like I said, that 3 levels, there's not really much that they can do to make up for that. We do have our tribute popping. This is going to be a curse for Lowkey. If Tailwind does not do something to answer it, they're going to jump in, though. A talent down. Let's see if something can come from it. Tassadar very low. Sonya so low, though. The Divine Shield is still on cooldown. I'm pretty sure we do lose Sonya. The curse, though, is got for Lowkey. Muradin about 50% health. We do have the Mighty Gust to save Muradin. 16 talent is reached. Can they get them quick enough to use in the fight? We do have Uther and Diablo sitting at about 50% health, but Lowkey is just so aggressive, still staying right in there. Not too worried about losing Sonya, and they are going to be able to safely disengage from both teams because, unfortunately, Tailwind now has to take care of yet another curse and so much pressure. They end up losing the top keep. So now we are 2 keeps down. All that's left of this bottom one, which is sitting at a measly 10, 20%. I don't know. And Lowkey does move to take this boss out of Tailwind's possession. 3 members, Diablo a little low, but that's easily going to go in favor of them. Just applying more lane pressure. Another 19 seconds on the curse. Whew, ladies and gentlemen, this is definitely difficult for Tailwind to be able to do anything with it. We do have Eric just scuffling out of there. So much lane pressure, so much map control. They can easily just take the rest of this curse to get every map objective and apply that much more pressure. All right, taking a look at talents yet again. Let's see what we got going now for Tailwind. We do have the Stoneformer course. We do have the Hammer Time, so giving Falstead just a nice little stun with his Hammerang. It's going to be very useful in a team fight. We do have the True Shot Aura, basic attack damage, the Northern Exposure, so that vulnerability coming out of Jaina is really going to make that front line melt a lot quicker. So, you know, they could definitely turn fights. The question's going to be, though, if they can handle losing those 2 keeps and maintain that map pressure that's going to be so consistent and, frankly, extremely a big pain to deal with. We do have the Vikings getting a little, gutsy here and taking this top siege, and they are able to easily secure that before Lowkey before Tailwind realize anything. We do have a fight mid lane. Tassadar at about 5% with Apocalypse coming out, just barely misses him. Jaina solo being chased by Sonya. Stun hits though, saving him. We do have the Vikings closing in and just Tailwind in full retreat to their core as the level 20 talent and the level deficit. Lowkey just looks to possibly close this out. I think they're waiting for a little bit more creep to possibly more pressure on the core. We do end up losing a Viking, not too detrimental. We end up losing Jaina. Muradin still solo, flip back around, and there goes Muradin. A 2 for 0, 3 for 0. We lose Tassadar as well. And ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be game in favor of Lowkey. Well played, both teams. Unfortunately, Lowkey just utilizing that early aggression in the bot lane, and those Vikings just gave them the lead, and that stayed pretty evident for the rest of the game. Honestly, I'm not too surprised. The Vikings, especially as of late, have become that's one of their best maps too, so it makes sense for them to be extremely aggressive early game. I don't think Tailwind misjudged it and tried to handle it. Just unfortunately, with the given comp that they have with those 2 early bruisers, they were able to be extremely aggressive early game. And game 1 goes to Tailwind or Lowkey, who ends up moving on to take on technical difficulty in the next round. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go to a short break while we set up our next game. So please stay tuned. All right, guys, thank you for waiting. We were able to get another draft up and going very quickly, so we apologize for bringing you in a little late. All right, we do have technical difficulty versus Lowkey. So far in the draft, we have the Uther and Muradin over on technical difficulty, two very strong first and second picks, probably the best solo tank we have in the game right now with the current meta, as well as Uther, so we could possibly see a very aggressive comp coming out of technical difficulty. We'll have to wait and see. And then over on Lowkey's side, we have the Diablo, the Vala, and the KT. So we already probably have their full damage with their carries. So the question is going to be, going further, will we have a double bruiser frontline from Lowkey with the Diablo? Because I'm not sure if I agree with his solo tanking capabilities as a frontliner. He does provide a lot of peel, but as far as his survivability, that does have me a little questionable. And as far as the double support goes, even to keep him up, we do have the Tassadar still on the board. We don't have the Tyrande as well. So right now we do have the ban on the Monk coming out of technical difficulty. So just one of the other very strong supports right now. So that kind of takes out a full dive comp away from Lowkey, especially with the Diablo and the Monk. That's a very strong pair to just kind of to dive on that back line for whatever technical difficulty could be thinking. We do have the Sylvania's ban. So on Cursed Hollow, that makes sense. Her split pushing ability is very, very strong. She can, especially that early game, being able just to dive onto a tower that early game, which we did see come out of the last game from Lowkey. So that makes sense, disabling those towers with them so low now. She definitely is a powerhouse early pick. So the two picks coming out for technical difficulty, it's what we have left on the board. Honestly, we have the ETC, okay, with the Divine Shield. That's good. He'll be able to get a full mosh pit off if he has to Divine Shield him. So just a great tank anyway as well. We do have a really strong front line now coming out of the technical difficulty. My only concern now is they're going to have quite the back line to be able to make up for having that double warrior front line. So I'm not really sure what we could go. We do have the Rainer, okay? Rainer, I like the Rainer. Just all that strong sustained damage. You know, it's really going to be able to tear through Diablo, especially if they keep him as that solo frontliner. So I definitely agree with the Rainer pick. My only worry would be is that they do lose a lot of like spread damage. So I'm wondering if they would pick up the Jaina next. It could work. It does give a lot of slows, and it makes a lot of the peel for them. Oh, we do have the Malf coming out of Lowkey. All right, so that still leads me to think we're going to see that double bruiser frontline then, because otherwise Malf really doesn't make full use of that massive AoE heal over time kind of concentration that he's so known for. I don't know. They could go another carry. I'm trying to think what would go well here and still on the board. We could see the Tassadar. I really think we could still see it. Yeah, he hasn't been banned yet, and I do think that would give Malf's heals to do a lot more work if they have those shields protecting them. He does provide the split pushing ability, especially with his Side Storm being able to clear creeps so well. So I like the Tassadar as far as a double support, and it would allow Diablo to be that solo frontliner, giving him just that little bit more sustained, especially if he takes the Leeching Plasma and Kala's Embrace. And we end up seeing the Tychus, okay? So we are going to just go all in with the damage from Lowkey. That's a lot of damage, especially fighting over Terry control with that laser drill is going to be a lot to deal with, especially given that KT and Tychus are there. So I have a feeling we should see the laser drill out of Tychus. That's going to be a lot of territory control, especially that plus the Phoenix. So definitely a strong pick. I still am worried about the solo Diablo in the bottom lane. We will see how that goes. Technical difficulty. They're really lacking damage. They have one of the best front lines you could see out of a team right now with the ETC and the Muradin, and especially given the Uther for the heals. I don't know what we could see here. If they go a melee, we're going to have a 4 melee front line, and they don't have a lot of stuns. But if they do that, those chain bombs after level 13 are really going to thrash through them. So it's definitely going to be interesting what route they decide to take with this. And they do the Jaina. Okay, like I said earlier, I do like the Jaina. Definitely a good pick there. Again, provide that a lot of AoE in that burst, especially if she ends up going the vulnerability with the Northern Exposure at 16. So good pick, good strong pick. A lot of damage though still coming out of Lowkey, and Jaina's really squishy. If Diablo's able to get to her in that back line, it's really going to hurt them. So, trying to think who's I like better. Honestly, I probably have to give it to technical difficulty. Having the Muradin and the ETC in that front line is going to provide so much control in a fight. And yes, they do have that burst, a ton of damage coming out of Lowkey's lineup, but I don't know if they're going to be able to contain both of those two, especially with Avatar, especially having to worry about Mosh Pit. It's just so much control coming out of so many stuns. I mean, technical difficulty is all about the stuns right now with the Uther stun with Muradin, especially with the Avatar popped and the Mosh Pit. And not even that, just given his power slide control to get to that back line. So, the technical difficulty does lack wave clear, though. They do lack a good amount of wave clear. I do favor that on Lowkey's side, with especially with the bombs with KT, and if Follow goes the multi-shot build, she's going to have a lot of clear, as well as if Mouth goes Moonburn, and Tychus, of course, buffs his grenade up with his level 7 talent. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of strategies we see out of both teams. Still going to give the win to the favor to technical difficulty with the draft that we have right now, honestly. I just don't think that Lowkey's going to be able to, especially the early game. They're definitely going to lose the early game with that double bruiser front line. The question will be, though, if they can burst down one of those tanks who aren't quite as tanky early game. And Uther does not have that Divine Shield. I think that will be clutch. Now, if Vala does go the Hungering Arrow build, though, that would allow her, especially early game, to be able to focus one of those tanks, or if she could flank and take down one of that back line. Having the 3 carries does allow one of them to sort of play that flanking role and quickly get behind them to do some decent damage. And if it will be interesting to see out of the 2 warriors, if Muradin or ETC, which one will play kind of the peeling role, because we're going to probably need the diving role just to be able to get in there and start disrupting, so the carries can't do their work. And Lowkey, I'm going to say Muradin probably would stay back in the peel if it were my call. Have the ETC die just to start disrupting. We don't have too much in the way of early burst damage. It's more sustained damage unless Follow goes that Hungering Arrow build, but that's really the most burst you're going to get, other than KT. But until he ramps up, he's just not going to be that much of a threat early game. So, every time I look at this draft, that Diablo pick worries me. It worries me for the. Lowkey, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong, boys. That was a good pick. He did with the buffs. He's definitely seen a much more success rate in Hero League. We definitely are seeing that from all the statistics that he definitely has the potential to do it. I worry with his health pool until he builds up some of those soul shards if he can manage that front line. The Raynor pick as well. Now that I'm thinking about it, what would we really need to see the Q build coming out of Raynor, just because that provides even more control, because there's not going to be too much reason to go that full auto attack damage just because you don't have large health pool heroes to begin with here on Lowkey's side. So let's go ahead and get in the lobby and get this going here. All right, here we go. Getting it over into the lobby. By the way, guys, be sure to follow Random CS over on Twitter to check out any updates with upcoming tournaments. To follow anything else that we do. They do also another tournament as well that you can feel free to check out on the Random CS website, which you can find linked through their Twitter. So make sure to do that. And then, of course, if you're watching and you haven't participated in the NexVerse, I highly recommend it. It's quite a good time. It's a lot of fun. You, of course, have the chance to win 10,000 cents, so quite a big prize pool. We have a lot of money going that way. And yes, I did say cents. All right, getting the game loaded up here. Let's think about this real quick while we're... Man, I don't know. I keep trying to think of how Lowkey could spin this to be able to work in their favor. I like the split pushing potential. They could do it. They have the creep clear to be able to pull that off. It's going to be interesting if they go that route. But the territory control is definitely going to be in their favor once they ramp up. It's just, can they hold on to ramp up? I do. What would be really funny is if Uther goes Divine Storm and just goes full stun build and just freaks everyone out. That would be a twist. If we saw just like crazy amounts of stuns, which they could do. I mean, I personally do like the Raynor Q build. I think it provides a lot of control, and especially with the scaling buffs early game, he does a lot of damage regardless if you go that full auto attack build. The only reason I personally recommend it would be for a double tank line, but he doesn't really need it. You've got a lot of pretty soft targets here. So it's going to be interesting to see what he goes, and especially with that burst damage, if he wants to live and he wants to play a little more aggressive, going the extra heal at level 1 is going to be a good talent choice for him as well. All right. We are going into the game right now, ladies and gentlemen. So let's all get hyped and get excited for the game between Technical Difficulty and Lowkey X5. So, all right. On the blue side, of course, we have Streaks on the Kel'Thas, Lowkey on the Tychus, Gyubu on the Diablo, Jake Baby on the Vala, and Skumag Muga, that's the best attempt you're going to get out of me, on the Malfurion. Over here on the red side, we have Kalabunga. That is fun to say. On the Muradin, we have the Enix on the ETC, the Take Home Masek. If you're a Steak and Shake fan, you'll catch that reference. On the Raynor, I don't even lift on the Uther, and down here on the Jaina, we have the King. We'll have to see if he is indeed the King. All right, so we do have the 5-man rush bottom lane, and if Jaina is all by herself, she is in for a wild surprise to be able to deal with that. So here they go, full dive on that bottom keep, and oh yeah, they should easily be able to breath test. There's just no way Jaina is going to be able to answer that, and there goes the first tower already in favor of Lowkey, who is doing exactly the same thing they did last game, that full 5-man push in bot lane. And to answer that, Technical Difficulty decides to push middle lane, and they are just bursting down that tower, able to easily take out the first, and are they going to get the second one? But we do have the Diablo coming in. Uther, though, able to get out of there just in time, so that tower almost gone. So bottom lane, we did end up losing that entire wall right off the bat almost. The gate sitting at about 10%, so XP is definitely favoring Lowkey right now. Already at level 2, but not too much of a lead. You know, they should easily be able to make that up if they, as long as they don't lose too much soak. So both teams scuffling up. So quickly taking a look here at our talents. So we do have the extra damage on the overkill for the Tychus, the standard mana addict, of course, on the Kel'Thas, the Shando's Clarity, so getting that additional mana that's really going to be able to help that. Oh, on the bottom, we do have a full gank on the Malfurion, and First Blood is going to go in favor of Technical Difficulty with a great quick flank over onto that bot lane. So well done. So that first kill for them. Now resuming talents, we do have the multi-shot build coming out of the Vala. We do have the Devil's Due, of course, pretty standard on the Diablo, the Reverberation. Now quick, we do see a flank possibly going mid. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to see Diablo fall here or not. He should be tanky enough that he makes it out of there pretty easily, and he is able to do just that. We do have the Conjurer's Pursuit, by the way, the extra mana on the Uther, the Seasoned Marksman. So we are going to see that, most likely, that full auto attack build from the Take Home Sack, the Raynor. Sorry, I like his name too much. And then we have, of course, the Lingering Chill on the Jaina, so that slow is just going to be very much a pestering thing for Lowkey to have to deal with. And then the Prog Rock, so the extra sustain coming out of the ETC, which makes sense. As much damage as there is going to be coming out of Lowkey, him having that extra sustain is really going to help if he can. The question is going to be if he can stack enough globes to do that. And then we do have the extended power slide as well. So Lowkey just kind of attempting to get some ganks here. It doesn't look like a technical difficulty is going for some ganks, and Lowkey's probably not going to let that happen. We do have a pretty decent push here, forcing Reyno completely back behind the wall, sitting at about 20% health, and then triggering his E to quickly get him back up to 50%. So another tower in favor of Lowkey with that pretty strong aggression that we've been seeing. And we do have our first tribute coming up now. Both teams slowly making their way down. We have Jaina, the king, hiding right here. Full in over on the side of Lowkey. And both teams just kind of pondering. It looks like Lowkey, Mouth, way caught out of position. He is going to get taken down very, and a quick snap and able to save him. Tychus going all in, and we are going to see Raynor down, as well as ETC and the Muradin falling so quickly, so fast. We do end up losing ETC. Muradin sitting very low as well. Gonna have to back out completely from technical difficulty. A good stun on Jaina, and with the Hungering Arrow, Vala is able to finish off Jaina as well. So a 3-for-1 in favor of Lowkey, just with all that early game damage. You know, unfortunately, the tanks on the side of technical difficulty haven't quite gotten to where they can handle the damage being thrown at them.